The 4 determinants of health each affect the 3 dimensions of health. So when we have a question asking for a determinant's impact on either health or health status, we need to be aware of its likely impact. In the previous video, we looked at question 2A from the 2013 VCE exam. Let's now look at part B of that question. It asked, select one of the examples given in part A and explain how it might contribute to variations in health status between those living in rural and remote areas and those living in major cities. In part A, we needed to identify one example of 2 different determinants. We could have chosen from a huge range of things, an extensive list of which is available from the link on your screen. For sake of simplicity, let's use access to healthcare from the social determinant in order to answer the question. Now, let's take a look at an explanation. Your responses to this can follow a general pattern. The first sentence of your explanation should give a broad statement that can be expanded on and have a direct link to the population groups in question. Then, you need to explain the general impact that the determinant will have. Then, link that impact to health. And finally, explain the impact on health status itself. Let's go back to our example and put our template into practice. Remember, the question was asking us about variations in health status for people living in rural and remote areas and those living in major cities. And our example was access to healthcare from the social determinant of health. So, for our explanation, we'll begin with a broad statement that links the relevant population groups, like this. Generally, those living in rural and remote areas will have inferior access to healthcare services than those living in major cities. Next, we'll explain the general impact that the social determinant will have. For example, this is likely to lead to less frequent prevention, diagnosis, treatment, cure, and screening of diseases and illnesses, because individuals will have less access to medical professionals and medicinal technology. Next, we need to link our response to health. Here we'll say, as a result, individuals may have inferior physical health. For example, less screening, resulting in a greater prevalence of disease. And now to health status itself. Reduced physical health will be reflected in the health status of the individual. For example, reduced physical health could lead to lower life expectancy and a greater burden of disease, both of which are indicators of health status. Okay, so obviously that's a lot to take in just a couple of minutes, so don't stress if you're a little bit confused. On the page below this video, we've included our template and our worked example if you need to go over it again. It all might seem really daunting right now, but you have a lot of time to study between now and the exam, and I promise that the more you practice, the more you'll start to feel comfortable. Thanks for watching and happy studying.